Hello again, it's Dawn, Red Barn Crafts, Crafty Things. I have a new idea. This is my book that I've shown in another couple of videos. A book that I made that is a lie flat watercolor made with watercolor sketchbook. I used Strathmore 400. I think it's 9 by 12. 9 by 12. One of the first binding projects I ever did. My signatures are very obvious. If you go here, you can see my very new new to me binding attempts, but I don't care. I love it. I made the outside with some of my my collage strips that I've been doing, and I love them. I did it front and back. Shameless plug. Anyway, so one of the things I'm doing here is, and I've already been working in this sketchbook. I never ever work front to back. I can't. I don't know why, but I can't. But I've already been working in this book, and I've been working with some other palettes that I have, and absolutely love working in this size. I'm all about scale. I like things either really tiny or really big. Don't know why that is, but anyway, here we are. So, you know, obviously it's a work in progress, and this is just a place for me to scratch and play and check things out. So one of my ideas was, and you can barely see it, but I stenciled in, was to swatch out. I'm going to move this camera ever so slightly so you can see what I'm working with here. I have 34, and that's not 34 because that's what 24. I have some more over here to the right. Well, maybe you can see them. Different colors out of a set in Mission Mijello, M-I-J-E-L-L. I have 34 colors out of this set that I got off Amazon years ago. I don't even know if they still sell it. But instead of doing, you know, all the reds and all the, I decided to do a case of Schoolyard Pick'em, where I lined them all up, orgy biv, and then I just did every other one, and I made this is going to be a complete color wheel from violets, you know, through the colors. So it's like 2 of each color, basically, is what it boils down to. And then, so I have 2 of them, and then I have all the browns. There's 6 browns in the group: burnt sienna, raw umber, sepia, etc. They're going to be over here in this little half wheel, which I'll do. And then I had to take out, I had 4 little lonely colors that I had to figure out which 4 came out. So I went through and I pulled out 1 red, 1 yellow, 1 green, 1 blue. And they're going to be on this little partial wheel. And what I'm probably going to do is break this up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 segments, because otherwise it'll just be forever too long. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just do 2 really pretty colorful color wheels, because what I find is I really am attracted to these color wheels that I've done, where I am doing the spectrum, as it were, versus some of these other ones where I'm just doing only purples, and for example, and there's nothing wrong with the only purples, but I like this better. So I thought, well, you know, my idea was I'm gonna play in my book, and I'm gonna swatch out these colors, and I'm gonna make them yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. And I'm gonna reposition the camera a little closer so you can see just what we're working on today a little closer, and then we'll see how these colors look. The other thing I should mention is, in the past, I've been working off of ceramic palettes and squeezing out blobs of paint. And today, because this little spread is going to produce 36, 34, whatever that number, 34 colors, I just really didn't want to dedicate another palette to that or whatever. So I'm going to do something I haven't done, and we'll see how it works. It may be an utter fail. But I'm going to use them right out of the tube. And then I'm just going to use this little enamel pan I'm just going to open them up and go straight out of the tube, or out of the cap, maybe, as the case may be. We'll see how it works. We may end up going back to a palette, but my thought was to just try to, I don't know, ad-lib this one a little bit, a little less formal with the whole palette spread and layout and what have you. So let's see how this works. So I am pulling stuff out of the cap. Of course, we're back to Bright Opera, which we've been discovering in some of these other videos, which I'm getting a little sick of. No, I'm kidding, Bright Opera. Just kidding. Just kidding. Wow. This is much brighter than that Daniel Smith one, I think. But then again, it's been a minute since I've looked at it. So the other part I haven't considered is how big this book is. And I normally move stuff around. I don't know how that's going to go. Meaning I normally swivel it. We're about to find out, though, if I can do it without swiveling. There's some schmutzy bits there. I'm going to try to wipe that off. It's like a little dried piece of pigment or something. I guess that's one of the dangers of pitfalls of using it out of the lid. Now here comes the challenging part. I think I'm going to move this palette. Pardon me while I orient myself a bit further. And if you could see my desk, my workspace is a little crowded. That's an exaggeration. I'm under exaggerating. It is very crowded. Time to clean. All right. This one might not be as precise if I don't move the book around like I do the paper normally, but that's the way it goes. Alright, this needs to be on my right. I'm moving my water. I really like the formulation, the binder or whatever they use. It's other than getting chunks of pigment that dried in the cap, it's very smooth. I am going to go into, right now I'm just dipping the tippy tip of my brush into the pigment to try to fill the rest of this in. I do like that full pigment load on that first square, first field. I know I'm being precious with it, but ooh, more water, please. What I like about this set, I've mentioned it before, is that because it's not single, none of these are single pigments. For those already asking or thinking it, and I haven't said so. Mission is the brand. It's right there on the end. It's in black. It's kind of gold lettering on black. It's hard to see. And then it says, oops, go to this side. This is a hobbyist paint. This is not a professional. It's got multiple pigments in each. 2 is a minimum. I already checked. None of them are single pigments. All of them are 2. Many of them are 3. And but it makes them very affordable as a result, because as you're getting started and you're not sure how invested you want to be, both in acquiring and spending the money to get some of the some of the paints that are out there. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the other stuff. But this stuff is, the juice is worth the squeeze on these. For sure. Okay, not too bad. Doing it out of the tube, I mean. Alright, moving on there, Mr. Bright Opera. Let's get our new color, which is going to be Rose Madder. Oh, and you know what? I just got through saying none of them are single pigment, and guess what? This one is single pigment. PR176. Well, goes to show you. Shows to go you. I am not sure I've ever played with this color before. So here we go. But I got this set years ago, and after I fell in love with the Peacock Blue, I went ahead and ordered all of them, that whole set. I don't know, I think it was like 40 bucks for, maybe it was 50 or 60, I don't remember now. It seemed very affordable at the time. Of course, that might have been a decade now. Okay. Let's grab some water and go up a rung. Okay, what kind of day you're having? For me, I sit down and I start playing with my paints like this, even if I'm not painting anything in particular. In fact, these are usually the most fun moments for me because I have no expectation of how it's supposed to turn out. It's just color for the sake of color. And I almost always like the end result. Where when I'm trying to do a piece, more times than not, the expectation in my head never matches what's on the paper. And even though I'll come back to it later and love it more than I did in the moment, the instant satisfaction that I feel when I do these color studies is hard to put into words, hard to quantify. It just makes me happy. And that's always been the case. Even when I wasn't playing around with watercolors, I was always drawn to things that had color swatches on them and blobs of paint. And why that appeals to me, I don't know. Maybe I was an artist in a former life. My ancestral roots are calling or something. Too much pigment. Okay. Well, that's the danger of working out of the cap, I suppose. All right, gotta water that puppy way down. In fact, let's go back and charge him a little bit. Try to balance out these saturation levels. This isn't as good a paper as I've been using before. This is not cotton paper. But for a sketchbook and to play around, it's absolutely fabulous. I don't show my work anywhere. I don't sell it really to speak of, although I have. It's not what I do. I don't do it for that. Let's put it that way. Well, I just went outside the lines. At least not in the watercolor sense. Okay, that's a little better. Let's see if I can just draw some of that up and bring it up here and balance these guys out. Not sure when this one will publish compared to some other stuff I've recorded lately, but I did a negative space painting the other day and the small like 5x7, and it's given me an idea about doing that on a larger scale. It was kind of a study, if you will. Okay, there's Rose Madder. Yay. I like that color. I like that color a lot. It's a warm red. I tend to like warm colors. Alright, Crimson Lake is next. Anyway, so I did this, I'll just bring it on this camera. I did this negative space with Rose of Ultramarine, and I love it. Because first of all, I love Rose of Ultramarine, and it's one of my new favorite colors. If I'm looking at cool colors, I love it. But I'm decided that I'm going to do a bigger piece, like 18 by 24 bigger, for my living room. But I have a big frame that I change out what's in it seasonally, the artwork that's in it, and I've decided I'm going to do it, but instead of doing it in pink or purple or red, as you would imagine, I'm going to go grunge, and I'm going to do it in brown. And I know you're probably going, brown? Brown hearts? Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do brown hearts, negative space. I'll probably film it. I've got to figure out my camera situation, obviously, because I can't be this close to it. But, yeah, I'm pretty excited because then I can put it up. I have frames all around my house. I used to be the person that had a bucket of seasonal art, and some of it's mine, some of it's art I bought that I just love. And what I would do is I would have, you know, like picture ledges and picture ledges. Yeah, that's right. Ooh. And I would, you know, Christmas is out and I've got them all full of Christmas stuff. Well, then you have to have a place to store. Then Valentine's comes and you swap it all out. And I'm not talking 2 or 3 pieces of art. I'm talking a dozen, 15, 20. Significant number. I have a lot of wall space in my house, and I love changing out my art seasonally. Now, some of it doesn't change at all. My bedroom, I have a gallery going on in there, does not change. But like the living space, the main space, and then the foyer area as you first come into the house. Wow, this just is not moving around so great, is it? I'm just fiddling with it. I don't feel like it's settling down. Anyway, all right, moving on. So a few years ago, I decided that I was tired of swapping out and storing, to be fair, all of this stuff out of season. And so what I started doing in one section of my house, and now I'm spreading it to the other parts of the living area again, is I use this. I've been picking up antique frames, and I am making my art rotate in the same frame. So the Christmas art goes to the back and Valentine's art comes to the front. And then Easter, something springy with lambs or whatever, rabbits will come to the fore for Easter, and that carries on all year long. And so what I've been doing little by little is making some of my own art to replace, you know, to fill those seasonal gaps where I don't have art that big. And then I am starting to think about letting go of my art on the shelf. Okay, this is much pinker. Crimson Lake. I don't know why. Crimson should tell the story, but I was expecting it to be a bit richer, or a bit warmer rather, than it is, but that's okay. So technically I have 3 reds here, but this is really violet in the violet family, right? So one little glob of paint, roughly, out of the end of this guy, or the cap, however the case may be, is all I've really used other than some water to do this whole swatching. Sure, sometimes I have to go back and get a little bit more pigment, but by and large, if you get like this, like half of a pencil lead size glob of paint to fill in that first little square, it is more than enough to carry you all the way through the whole exercise. Okay, Crimson Lake. Let me just see how these dry down. Next up, oh, I didn't show you the pigment on that one. Oh, another one with the single pigment. Well, I guess I didn't check these too close, did I? This is PR202. Moving on, this one is orange, which is 2 pigments. PO73 and PY65 for those playing the home game. I don't really know what those numbers mean. I mean, I do, but I don't. It's just not... It's not that important to me. The color on the paper is far more important to me than the number on the bottle, on the tube. All right, Mr. Orange. That's his only name, Orange. Very descriptive. Very helpful. Okay. I should have showed you how much paint I had on that. It wasn't a lot, but it wasn't enough. So probably about like, oh, can't see that. About like that, maybe a little less. Probably have too much. But that should be all I need. I'm going to put this tube down, and I'll let you know if I pick it back up. But chances are I won't need to. I'm not moving this book around, so for those that bothers you, this should make you happy. It's staying still. It's just different muscles when you do it this way. Not quite like writing with your opposite hand, but kind of similar. You gotta think about it more. And you aren't quite as good at it. All right, there's square one. Let's go grab some water. Maybe a little bit more water than that. Okay. Well, it's really transparent. I have some pencil lines that may or may not be showing up on the camera where my pencil slipped when I was tracing the stencil. And oh, I should have mentioned that. Sorry. This whole layout was created with this Tim Holtz stencil. It's called THS179. It's down here in the bottom right corner. It's engraved, but it's not in black, so it's hard to see. But it's THS179. Did I say that right? Yeah, 179. And so when I'm tracing the stencil, you slip. But a lot of these pigments are so dark at these lower levels that you aren't seeing pencil lines. And this one, even at this level, I'm seeing the pencil line where I went slippy. Orange. That is very tangerine, my friends. Very wet brush. That's what you need as you go up the ladder, up the rungs. You need more and more water. Well, it's a nice color if you like orange. I like orange 2 months of the year. Then not so much. Now orange looks really good with green. Sorry, with blue. I really like it when I'm trying to figure out what to complement something I'm working on with. Orange is a complement to blue, of course. It really makes the blue stand out. Okay, I just only got that one, well, technically 2 little bits of pigment there in the beginning and then no more. All right, now we're moving on to yellow ochre, yellow ochre number 1, and that's PY42 and PY150. 42, okay. Ochre is a color I'm a big fan of. I'm an antique, grunge, rustic, grungy girl. I just like it. When I was a girl growing up in Northern Virginia, my parents just did not have more than 2 nickels to rub together. And that's not a judgment. It's just the reality of their situation. They got married young. My mom was 21. My dad was 23. And they had me like in their first year. I think by the anniversary they were pregnant with me, and I was born a few months later. And my sister came along 2 years after that. Almost exactly 2 years after that. And my mom was trying to, do what housewives did back then, which was stretch a dollar. Anyway, we would spend our Saturdays going around, and sometimes even during the week, we would spend going around to these junk stores. And I say that because it isn't like the stores of today. These were, imagine an old gas station on the side of a 2-lane road. It used to be a gas station, it's not anymore, with a little service station to the side, and inside of it would be piled to the rafters with furniture and no smalls. Everything was big. Bed frames and dining room tables and dressers and armoires and wardrobes and you name it. And desks, chairs. And my mother furnished our house and our bedrooms and just about everything we use, with the exception of, mattresses we bought new, obviously, and couches and things like that, but the soft goods. But anything that was structural, table, chairs, china cabinet, dressers, bed frames, she would buy them for pennies, because this is in the early 70s, mind you, when this was not popular, and you could throw a rock and hit 100 antique stores or junk stores. These are junk stores. Dirt floors, many of them. And you would have to clamber over. In fact, I think it's one of the reasons why she took me and my sister with her, was because we were small enough that we could crawl through and tell her, what we saw. And because she'd be looking for something, she would have a mission that day. And it might be a dresser, because my sister and I shared a bedroom for a long time when we were little, and then we got our own room, and she needed to, okay, now I might need a bit more pigment here, because this is really, I'll keep working it, but I'm worried this is going to dry down to nothing. And so if she was on a mission, she would have a goal, a piece that she was hoping to find, a new desk for my father's study, or whatever the case may be. Anyway, I'm going to grab a tiny bit more pigment, and I'm going to try to do this with the lid and just grab the teeniest of tips here. Bloop. Nope. A little bit more. Okay. And now the goal is to spread that out. So I'm telling you this story because thus began my love of things, because I'd have to describe to her what I was seeing, or tell her, you know, or she'd tell me what she's looking for, because you don't want to unload 6 heavy pieces of furniture to get to the one piece unless you know that's the piece you want, right? Because these were do it yourself. It was kind of like those junkyards, you know, where you go pull your part that you need. You show up with your tools, and you show up with whatever, and you go find it, and you remove it and take it to the front office, and they tell you it was kind of like that. And so we're on lemon yellow now, last one. It's again making me a liar. It's a single pigment PY3. Well, here you go. And so I had to be able to describe what I was seeing, and does it have 4 drawers, or does it have 3, or, but not even that. There were certain styles of you know, East Lake and Chippendale and mid-century modern and things that, you know, 5-year-old or 8-year-old or whatever age I was at the time didn't care 2 wits about. But suddenly I didn't need to be an expert on it, but you know, every child wants to help their mother and wants their mother to be proud of them. And hey, I found what you're looking for, Mom. It's over here. It's a this or it's a that. And thus began my love of, or understanding at the very minimum, of antiques and vintage things, and seeing the beauty of the wood underneath whatever finish was on it, being able to open up and see if there's dovetailing, and be able to tell what kind of wood it is. Is it walnut? Is it oak? Is it cherry? Is it, you know, what is it? Now that I wasn't great at that age, but I could describe the outside of it. Does it have scroll work? Does it have inlay? Does it have hard corners or round corners? Because my mother did not like mid-century modern or any of the I can't think of that word right now, but the stuff that was very popular in the, I think it was the 40s, with all the inlay. She did not like that stuff. She liked the more Amish rustic stuff. That was her flavor. That was her style. So I quickly became good at spotting that stuff, and once learned, it kind of stuck. Became my style too. Now, ironically enough, none of my other siblings care for that at all. 0. I'm the only one that got that gene or whatever. I have one sibling who's very modern, very Scandinavian minimalist. Probably because my mother was a maximalist. You always have one child that does the opposite, right? And then my sister, she loves everything bright. This bright opera, whew, right up her alley. Me, not so much. And then, you know, all of them are very different. I'm the only one that, and probably it's because I'm the oldest and I'm the oldest daughter, and there's some, whatever that goes with that territory. But I'm trying to decide if I'm going to need more pigment. Again, here I reach this lemon yellow is very on or off. There's no in between. There's no middle. It's either there or it isn't. Let's just go with it. Let's just keep doing what we've been doing, which is not adding any more pigment to the last, if you can help it. But anyway, I said all that to say, whew, I love yellow ochre much more than I love lemon yellow, because it is it's a grungy yellow. It's a dingy yellow. It's the yellow of parchment paper. It's the yellow of aged linen. It's the yellow of the past, you know, things that have yellowed. So it appeals to me. It's my thing. THANG, thing. Okay, well, I'm hoping the rest of this wheel is going to make this feel a bit more balanced. I think it will. So next time we'll do red violet, blue cerulean. Sorry, cerulean blue. My favorite peacock blue. And my least favorite green, Viridian. It's Schoolyard Pick'em. I had to take it as it came. It was every other. Olive green and yellow green, and then we'll have a whole color wheel. So thanks for joining me for this one, and stay tuned for the next one, and we'll see you then. Bye.